If you are 35-year-old or younger, you are till this day sad that you never received your invitation letter from Hogwarts, or you didn't have a good childhood and adolescence. But even though you will never receive your so wanted letter, you'll have the chance to feel the closest ever of being a real Hogwarts student. I'm Lucas Highland, and in this video we will find out what we can expect from Hogwarts Legacy, so we know if this highly expected game is actually worth the hype. But before we move on, I need to thank all of my 142 subscribers in this channel. I know that is not a lot, it's a long way we have to go yet, but I really appreciate all the support that you all have been giving me. Thank you all. With that said, let's get started. There's a big rock in the way of this game, which is the creator of the whole fantasy world called Wizarding World, J.K. Rowling. As many of you already know, a while ago she made some really inappropriate tweets with some transphobic ideas and perspectives that you can understand a little better in the first link in the description. This whole situation was incredibly disrespectful to the whole trans community and all of their supporters. And this brings us to a whole new problem, this old question: should we separate the author from their work? Because I know a bunch of people who are in the LGBT+ community who said they won't play this game because of the transphobic tweets by J.K. Rowling. Because although she is not directly related with Hogwarts Legacy, she will still make money with this game, once she owns the rights of the Wizarding World together with Warner Bros. I know that normally terrible things follows a but, and here comes my take on the conversation of should we split the author from their work. The Wizarding World franchise is loved by many people, and this includes trans people. And by boycotting this game, you are not only affecting J.K. Rowling. I understand that you don't feel comfortable putting your money in something that will make a rich transphobic person even more rich. But Avalanche Software, the developer behind this game, has more than 500 employees. And I could not find precisely how many of them are working on this game, but with the experience I have in the video game industry, I can tell that for sure the team they are allocated for this project cannot be smaller than 150 to 200 people. And I'm being conservative here because probably there are more people involved in this. And the developers of this game are doing their best to show that they and their team do not agree with J.K. Rowling's ideas. How so? Not only she will not be involved at all in the game, but also you will be able to play as a trans character if you so desire. In the character creation part, you will be able to choose your body type, your voice, as well as all the other possible physical characteristics. You will also be able to choose to be a wizard or a witch, independent of the previous choices for your character. And the choice between wizard and witch is what's gonna determine the dormitories that you are going to be assigned to. So honestly, boycotting the work of hundreds of people just because of the mistakes of a single person doesn't seem fair to me. Mainly when you see their clear effort to show they do not agree with this polemic idea. Now, with this huge stone out of the way, let's talk about a few of the things we know about this game so you can have a better idea of what you can expect from this magical game that's coming to fulfill our inner child. The story will be set in the late 1800s. This means we won't see Harry, Hermione, Ron, or any of the students from the movies, or even their parents. The year the game will be set in is not precisely defined. All we got is late 1800s. Possibly not even Dumbledore was born yet, once he was born in 1881. Maybe he still is a baby. Can you imagine Dumbledore as a baby? Because I can't. He's so old in the Harry Potter movies that seems that he was born like with 40 years old. Once, even in Fantastic Beasts, he was played by Jude Law, an actor that is currently 49 years old. You are a new student with a unique power to control ancient magic. So we will be kinda special, just like Harry. We will be able to walk around most parts of the well-known Hogwarts Wizarding School, like the dorms and the common room, for example. We will attend to classes, and damn, the world looks gorgeous. But we are a new student who's starting late, so we will start in the 5th year. It's a weird choice, but I think it's a needed one. Once a student from the first year wouldn't be able to do most of the things that they needed us to do to make this game even playable or interesting. I don't want to spend 70 hours of gameplay or even more only being able to cast spells that make things fly, use the wand as a flashlight that we can do with pretty much any smartphone nowadays, and opening locked doors without the key, which would be close to everything a first year would be able to do correctly with spells. We will be able to go through some moments very similar to epic unforgettable parts of the movies, like for example the duel practicing, and I really hope there are some students as sons of as Malfoy so we can have the privilege to kick their asses. Because there's nothing more pleasing than shutting cocky people up. By the description they gave about the game in one of the first official videos, we can expect lots of small details that will be optional and hidden for the people who are willing to go after the secrets hidden in the corridors and rooms inside of the school. I think this is an excellent approach to reward people who are the biggest fans, who will probably dedicate lots of their time to try every single secret in Hogwarts. Hidden secret puzzle that I hope that goes from easy to very hard to solve. Am I the only one who loves these stories of quests and mysteries inside of games that literally take years for the players to solve? Although we are not gonna see most of the characters we already know, a few of them will be in this game, such as the nearly headless Nick, for example, who is confirmed to be in the game. The plot will go around helping a teacher called Professor Fig to find out whether or not rumors about a goblin rebellion is real, which would be a huge threat to Hogwarts. But if they are mentioning this even before the game being released, I would assume that the rumor about the goblin rebellion is probably real. Although it would be awesome if this whole story was just there to fool us, and in the end they showed a plot twist that points towards the story not being exactly like we expected. Maybe we are the villains and not the goblins. I'm tripping here, but it would be cool, right? The combat seems to be fast-pacing and very dynamic, which is cool, but it will also be very demanding on the design team, because creating a playable way to map all the possible spells in the controller is not an easy task, once we don't have as many buttons. There's nothing pointing towards what I'm gonna say, but as they didn't make clear how we are gonna choose the spells we will use, it may be a possibility, but not the best one. Choosing the spells we want to use from a selection wheel, like in GTA or Days Gone for example, would make the combat very slow, once probably we will use lots of different spells in every combat. So I'm very curious to see how they solve this problem. I also feel a little taste of a Souls-like there. Not because it's gonna be extremely hard to deal with the combats, but in the way that knowing your enemy and gathering information about your enemy before jumping into a fight with them would be a huge advantage for you. The game will count with a set of possible upgrades you'll be able to make to improve your gear and skills as a wizard and make you feel the progression of your character. So you can expect the possibility of being able to grind to improve your character as usual in these games. Hogwarts Legacy will also count with some kind of secondary systems like herbology, potions and beasts. Probably we will be able to explore these matters separately and choose what are gonna be our specialties. This also makes it clear that crafting probably will be a big part of this game. Honestly, who doesn't love crafting these days? It is likely for this world to be massive. And in this world, thankfully, we have very exclusive ways to move around. The brooms, but not only that, in the back of flying magic beasts. Which is very difficult for the developers, because establishing how far and how high you can fly when you can literally fly with a broom or a beast, for example, it's very complicated. This game is looking extremely complex so far, with ridiculous amounts of different systems they presented in just one video. So there are three possible paths in my opinion. First one, they presented more than they should, and when the game goes out, there's not gonna be many things new that we need to discover, or when it comes closer to the release date, they won't have lots of things to show us, mainly about the systems inside of the game. 2. The game is truly exploring new terrains in terms of how complex a game can be, which means that it would take forever to us to complete everything we can inside of the game, which would be awesome. For me, this would be the good path. And the third one and the worst one is if they added so many systems that they couldn't develop all of them, making all of them very shallow and confusing for the player. And that's another problem. If they are shallow, the reward probably won't be that great in comparison to all the effort we are gonna have to put in to understand all these different systems, because this is demanding on the player too. When the game is too difficult, too complex, it is in risk of being a boring game too. I wish this is not the case. And I say this because I feel that I already described a huge game with everything I mentioned in this video so far, but there is still lots of things I didn't talk about. You will also have a kind of magical individual place where you will be able to construct your base to reflect your personality and magical specialties. And honestly, if this part of the game is half as cool as it seems to be, then this alone will make the game totally worth it. I already mentioned before, the world will probably be huge. This includes not only Hogwarts, but also the village of Hogsmeade, a place where we can go shopping and visit magical stores that probably will make us feel as happy as we can be by visiting these historical parts of the movies we watched so far. Not only that, but we will also be able to open our own store in Hogsmeade. This is not 100% clear if we are gonna be able to, but from the dialogue in the trailers, it points towards this. But it's still not very clear if it's gonna be a function that will be exclusive for the PlayStation players in the beginning, because of the DLC that's gonna be exclusive for 1 year for the PlayStation players. I'm not sure if the whole DLC and the adventure inside of the stores that we can have in Hogsmeade are gonna be exclusive for PlayStation, or having a store is also included in this thing that's going to be exclusive for 1 year for PlayStation. I wasn't able to confirm this information, so if you know, let me know in the comments. And once you are down there in the comments, don't forget to subscribe and like the video so you don't lose the next videos. I bring whole new videos like this about the video game industry every single week. Back to the video. Hogsmeade will not only have stores, it will also have mysteries and secrets to explore. And if you play in the PlayStation 5, you are also gonna have the full experience of playing with all the new sensors and triggers and adaptive triggers and blah blah blah, all the new cool stuff in the PS5 DualSense controller that still, till this day, continues to surprise me every time that a feature appears in a game that uses the adaptive triggers and the haptic vibration. So I don't know if I pronounced the name correctly, but you get it. It's gonna be a huge addition to the game. It's looking good so far, but there is still space for them to mess it up. There's a room they called Room of Requirement, a place where you can have a few workbenches to craft and harvest items. The problem is that apparently some items we will only be able to harvest each few minutes, like 10-15 minutes. In this example I'm showing, you can see a venomous tentacula that takes 25 in 1 second to grow, which opens space to include boosters to grow these faster if you pay real world money. I'm not saying this is how it will work in the game, but as they didn't say anything about this, and normally this is how the system works in other games, we cannot deny this is a possibility until the game is out. They can also use the leveling feature to decrease these times, so it's still a mystery to us. But there's still a chance of this game having some pay to win system related to this, but I really hope not. As also shown in one of the official videos about the game, there will be 3 currency possible in the game: copper, silver, and gold. And I really hope they work like the cents and the dollar, like one is a part of the other. The gold is the one that values the most, silver is the middle one, and copper is the cheapest one. But I really hope they are not thinking in including different currencies to have a premium currency in the game. Because again, pay to win is not welcome. As we can also use sorry. There will probably be a reputation system to determine if we are in the good or in the bad side of the story. which makes me also believe that we will be able to make choices along the game that will affect the course of the story. So I would bet on a game with multiple possible endings and paths to the end of the campaign. So this is what we can expect from Hogwarts Legacy so far. A long and complex game, living in one of the most beloved fantasy universes of all time. A punch of nostalgia right in our faces, with lots of places, spells, characters and mechanics for us to explore, in what seems to be an excellent, brilliantly well created world, with excellent visuals and gameplay that seems to be as fluid as it can be, with a small possibility of being a failure if they decide to use the pay-to-win systems that we all are already very tired of. So, is it worth the hype? If you are a huge Harry Potter fan, it is probably worth the hype even if the game is pay to win. Because adding the possibility of navigating a world like that with the quality they presented in the trailer so far is by itself a good enough experience for the real fans. But if you are like me, someone who likes Harry Potter and the wizarding world, but not enough to go after every single book, every single detail, and understand every single thing in the world of the wizarding world, I would stay a little conservative, at least until we have confirmations that the game will not include pay-to-win systems. Overall, the game is looking gorgeous. It will face some difficulties that most games will never go through, like the whole transphobia controversy by the owner of the franchise, but I feel they found a good way to solve the problem, and in my opinion, this game has more chances of being a huge hit and being an excellent game than it is to flop. I'm Lucas Highland, this was What to Expect from Hogwarts Legacy. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel, and if you have nothing better to do, watch these other videos that YouTube is suggesting you. Thank you again, and see you in the next video.